You are beginning to find yourself in a brand new day. Somewhere to the side, off in that little part, here and there, it's making itself known. It's making itself known sometimes quietly, sometimes a little louder. And you notice it, but you don't know what it is. You see, my dearest ones, you have been for so long your divinity has not been able to be heard or recognized or acted upon when it showed itself. So when your divinity gives you its little nudges and inspirations, you have been trained to rationalize, to go into the thoughts, and to repeat ideas, beliefs, principles, values, morals. And that is why, as God is realigning your divinity, and let me tell you this, because you're going to be so excited. We are so excited. We are so happy at what is being accomplished. At present, many of you have already become 100% realigned. There are still many that have not gotten to the 100% realigned, but there are many that are now at 100% realignment, and that is fabulous, and we are so excited about that. But as you come into your 100% realignment, there is a challenge that you face. You have been trained over not only successive lifetimes, but even the in-between of these lifetimes. You have been trained to not listen to your divinity and to listen to someone or something else that sets out a rule or a direction. And I know as I say this, those of you who are aware that between incarnations, you are still alive and in your soul form. And there's much beauty and wonder in that space. And so you're wondering, what do you mean I can have been trained? I don't have in that space. Everything is clear. We need to explain this to you because truth is, we are coming to you and we are offering these messages to you and guidance to you from the divine and the divine realm. The divine realm surrounds, encompasses all of the multiverse and all that the multiverse was born from and that exists within. And we are coming to you from this perspective. We are not coming to you from the perspective of the universe of the soul is everything. We are coming to you from the perspective of outside the universe of the soul. So, within the universe of the souls, and okay, let's look at it this way to try to help you grasp. For those who are on Earth and only know of Earth and only recognize the physical life forms that are on Earth, that is all they know. That is their experience. They have nothing more no, that is their perspective. In that limited perspective of just there on earth, there are certain patterns and ways of looking at and dealing with things. But there have always been those who recognize that what is happening and existing on earth is not all there is. And their view and perspective expands. And as you come to understand and recognize there are more, your perspective expands even farther. So there are many of you who have come to broaden your perspective, to recognize that there are many, many cultures, worlds, dimensions, souls, experiences within the universe of the souls. And that is a very broad perspective for someone who is living an incarnation upon earth. That is an extremely broad perspective. And that perspective helps you to approach and look at things and act on things and see things from that broader perspective. The perspective that we are offering to you is one in which the universe of the souls, which is very broad, is just a single place, a single moment, a single part. We're broadening your perspective, and the broadening is such as the difference between thinking life is only that which you see here on earth to the universal, multidimensional universe of the souls. That big, broader perspective is exponentially making wider with what we are bringing to you. And do you need to know this at this time? No. But there are those of you who long for and search for and must have this broader perspective. This is a yearning from you. And so we are trying to bring this to you. And from this even broader perspective, things will look different. We will approach things differently. We see things from this perspective that from your perspective, you do not see from your perspective. You live within time. And when you get into your universal perspective, time becomes something different, some of you may even understand how more about time and space, and that is wonderful. But we are bringing you a different perspective, the divine perspective, from the divine realm. And we have had to go off on a side tangent here because we are seeing your souls, and we are seeing the universe of the souls, and that there has been a beautiful realignment. And there are many that have already reached 100% realignment, and it is beautiful. But as you reach this 100% realignment, and you attempt to remain in the 100% realignment without pulling back in distortions, you are at a place of confusion, because you have always been guided by rationalizations, things that you are taught, things that are enforced. You are now going to return to that which you knew at the very beginning of listening to your divinity, recognizing the nudges, pulling back and finding the divinity balance. This will be a challenge. In 100% divinity, there are no laws. There are no contracts. There can be none. Because laws and contracts pull you away from divinity. Divinity will guide you in love and right and justice and fairness and kindness and creativity. It will always lead you in such a manner. Contracts, laws, moral principles, rationalizations, many of the things that you value and you believe are necessary only pull you away from divinity, because divinity will show you the right path. It is smooth and clean and clear. It only becomes complicated when it is not. When there's not, I'm trying to think what that thing is. It only becomes complicated when you leave divinity and try to make it align to that which is not divine. That sounds like a confusing repeating of words. Let us see if we can find a It is very hard to describe this clearly because, my dear little ones, everything there has been so distorted that it is very hard to understand a balance that always remains and that is always good, right, just, fair, creative. Always. In your universe, from your experience, eons upon eons of time, I'm not going to say near the conception of the idea, or very early on, little distortions were brought in, and that were not balanced. And these continued to amplify throughout the universe of the souls. And in the universe of the souls, and this required rationalizations, philosophies, so that you could try to understand the imbalance that was occurring. This only solidified those imbalances. That is why it is taking so long in the universe of the souls to bring realignment. Because it's foundationally unstable. But I am realigning it. It is occurring. Now, as you find yourselves at this 100% realignment, and you will wonder and be not sure, because you've been taught to not trust anything, and you have 100% realignment is perfection, but it is not the distorted concept of perfection that has been given to you. It is 100% realignment is that your divinity is free and it's moving. It will speak and it will guide you. And it will always go back to it. It's the balancing point. So if, for example, something were to occur that pulled a part of your divinity in one direction, and you start wobbled and you pull to that direction, then, oh, okay. That is funny. She had this idea where she wanted to talk about the wobbling. And when she was a young child, in the 70s, there was a toy called Weebles. If you do not know what this is because you are a younger generation, then you might want to look it up, because there was a jingle. It was these little toys that were self-balancing. And they go, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That is what happens when you are 100% realigned to divinity. You may wobble, but you don't fall down. You just wobble and wobble until you get to your balance point, and then things calm down. So it's not that something can't come along and push you this way or that. It can. But you will naturally, your divinity will realign you. It will tell you exactly where to go and what to do to get to that point of realignment. Your difficulty would be if you try to rationalize how to do this. Just listen. Don't rationalize, just listen, and it will tell you. And sometimes when it tells you, may go against the principles and rationalizations you've been taught. And that you might have a little difficulty in remaining in your realignment for those purposes. So we're giving you time to get used to and recognize the feelings and the nudges of this expression of your 100% divinity. It would be beneficial for you to remove as much, whenever it comes up from your thoughts, in your manner of expressing yourself, to, as much as possible, to not think about laws, values, principles, ethics, because these rationalizations can cause you to work against divinity. This does not mean you can be unkind and treat others unkindly, because being unkind, harming others, demeaning others is a big wobble. And if you do something that causes pain, then that big wobble will have to realign itself, and it may not feel comfortable. My dearest ones, many of you are now at and approaching 100% realignment. Now is the point where you begin to acclimate, to realize, to be able to listen to your divinity as it works. Let go of the laws, the rules, the contracts. Please. Okay, please. The idea, the concept of a contract. Let it go. Contracts are only needed where their divinity does not guide. Because contracts pull away from and destroy divinity. They do. They just destroy it. As you are 100% realigned to divinity, there are no more contracts. There will be no more contracts. Contracts will not exist. because contracts have been found to be evil. If people want to come to, and people, where this means souls or beings, want to come to an agreement to try or to do something, they may, but there will be no contract. They will do it, both of them, fully in their divinity, and if that agreement is in line with divinity, then it shall work. But if at some point, at any point, there wobbles and it moves out of divinity, and you are given the freedom within your divinity to move throughout that in a way to bring about a balance to divinity, there is no such thing as a contract that you will adhere to certain behaviors or limits that have been agreed upon. These things are not going to exist in the 100% realignment. They are already nullified. They are not seen as valid in the eyes of God, and are being removed throughout all creation. All contracts are being done such. For you at this point, listen and move within your divinity. Just get used to it. Play with it. Ask for help. Ask for guidance. But do not ask for guidance from your guides. Okay? Ask for guidance from God, the source of all light. Because even your guides are, especially your guides, are being realigned to divinity. Why we say especially is because in order for one, within the universe of the souls, in order for one to be able to be allowed to be a guide, they had to have been trained under the principles and the ideas set forth within the contracts of the universe of the soul. That means that you have been encouraged, and not even more so, it has been placed upon you to not listen to divinity in order to progress within the universe of the souls. For when your divinity says, I am in pain, I should stop. This angers me, I should move away from and change this. This is so repulsive that I actually come to the point of hate. And yet I have to find a way to live with this. To move. And not, these things you must get rid of. These things are the things your guides have been, or were taught by. These are the things that your guides were taught by and encouraged, and the distortion that they have had. It is going to be very difficult for your guides to let go of this. Will they do it? Yes, many, most will be able to be realigned. But you're going to have to let go of pushing through the pain, thinking that suffering is beneficial, thinking that there is a hierarchical way of dealing with things. This one is smarter or this one is wiser. That is not how divinity works. The divinity of the great Father, the great Mother, light, is the same divinity in every single soul. It's the same divinity. It's the same divinity that exists in a tadpole. There is no levels. There is no, this one's divinity is more divine than that one's divinity. The only thing that can be said is that I, the God, the source of all light, beginning, the creator of, that created the beginning, and the great Father, the great Mother, light, that some of us of the beginnings have, there is more of us. So it's not that we are Your divinity is just as powerful in the sense that it can guide you to right, to wrong, through experiences and expression. We're just more, but we're not hierarchical. There is no ruler. There is only love and family and kindness. So ask for guidance from me. Ask for guidance from the divine. Do not go to someone of a higher dimension saying, you're of a higher dimension, you understand more, tell me how I should do here. This is the time to learn to listen to your divinity. To notice, to feel the light tugs, the light pulls, the light inspirations, following your inspirations, and not listening to the rationalizations, to just practice listening. And as more of you come to the 100% realignment and maintain it, you will see a change in everything. Where you are going, there will be no laws. There will be no courts. There will be no jails. There will be no bosses. There will be no homelessness in the sense of no one will have, without being in a place where they feel safe. There will be complete safety. You are beginning to enter into the transition period. Transitions can be difficult because there is an inclination to go back to that which you knew. There is going to be an inclination to make laws and rules and to have rationalization and moral debates about this and that. If you find the need for a moral debate, then get very, very, very quiet. Become very, very, very quiet. Because your divinity is trying to tell you something. If you feel the need to debate it, then your divinity is trying to tell you something. Recently, the time weaver expression that is there came across a moral debate about murder and how does that fit in. My dear ones, listen to your individual divinity. No one can tell you what you have to do and you must do it. There cannot be a war in 100% divinity. A war cannot exist in 100% divinity. Because why? Wars only can exist when groups come against other groups. If each individual is in divinity, then each individual acts in divinity, 100% divinity, allowing the divinity to always bring it back to its balance point. Then can you have differences in how you want to move forward? Of course. But it does not devolve into violence and war. If in your divinity you find something, one person is doing something that does not resonate with you in any way, and then you just move away from it. That's all there is to it. And you move towards something else, and they will do the same. But because there's also a connectiveness to divinity, the macro divinity. Yes. Oh, yes, that's that thing. There is this teaching and understanding that many believe that God is just the universal consciousness. That is macro divinity. It is not God the person. You have the individual divinity, and then you have the macro divinity, because all divinity has a connection. And so the macro divinity of the connection will always also seek balance, and will also always move through balance, so that as each individual is expressing their own divinity in their own unique way, the macro divinity will be balancing everyone out and all the individuals out.